is the plaintiffs, Jason Carrillo and Diana Martinez. Jason says he put down a rather sizable deposit on a 2002 Jaguar. And when the defendant worked up all the numbers, he realized he wouldn't be able to afford the monthly payments. He politely asked the defendant for his deposit back, but the guy told him he spent the money on a navigation system and refused. He has no other choice but to sue the crooked defendant for the $3,500, and that's just what he's doing. This is the defendant, Adam. He says the plaintiff is a few cards short of a full deck. This has been going on for close to 7 years now. Bottom line, the guy put down a deposit on a car, which he held for him, and 3 or 4 months later, he decided he didn't want it anymore. Deposits are simply not refundable, and everyone knows that. Case closed. He's accused of being a real wheeler dealer.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiffs put money down on a Jaguar, but realized it was too expensive. Now they can't get their money back. But the defendant says they're just dreaming. It's the case of I got shagged over the Jag.
Thank you. Jason Carrillo and Diana Martinez.
Yes.
You are suing, you want to be referred to only as Adam. You're suing Adam's company. What kind of place is it?
It's a used car dealership.
Used car dealership for $3,500, the amount of a deposit that you put down some time ago that you have decided to sue for to get returned to you. So you put $3,500 down on what kind of a car?
It was a 2002 Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah.
And this was in what year that you did that?
2008.
2008. And what happened?
When we took it out for a test drive, it ran good and everything was great. We just noticed.
Is it we, the two of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We noticed the front dash missing. So what we did was we came back. We liked the car. We spoke to Adam about it. He goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. You know, we're going to be taking care of it." So when it gets taken care of, then we can start talking some numbers and so it took about some time. And he asked if for a serious deposit.
Okay, so you sit down to talk numbers.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he was going to go.
So when you're talking numbers, I assume you're talking financing.
Well, we didn't do anything with the financing because he wanted to get the part first and he wanted a deposit down.
But how are you going to get a deposit on a car that you don't know what it's going to cost you?
Oh, well,
What's your? I assume you have a different version on that, or no?
Yes, I had them pre-approved through a subprime bank. I had his interest rate. I gave him his monthly payment.
What was it?
Everything.
Do you have the paperwork?
No, I don't, because it was over. It was almost 6 years ago, Your Honor. And but I do know the interest rate was 18.9%.
Do you have his contract? No.
No.
Because the agency that regulates you only requires you keep them for 2 years?
That's correct.
But don't you have to keep all your paperwork so that you can do your because IRS can look at you up to what, 7 years later? So wouldn't it be a good idea when you have money on a transaction to keep all your paperwork for 7 years?
It would be a good idea, Your Honor.
Yeah. I mean, talk to your accountant about how long you should be keeping it regardless of what motor vehicle says.
Okay, thank you.
So you don't have his paperwork. You don't have your paperwork?
I just have
You have something.
contract.
Can I see? Well, that'll help. Can I see the contract?
Yeah, this is what he gave me and the receipts.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
That's not the original. That's a copy of the contract.
Yeah. It's something. This has a cash price. Doesn't have anything about financing.
The unpaid balance is $94.13, so that would be the amount financed.
No, I know.
Once we get it approved through, it was already approved, but once the bank does the
Right, but what are you saying that at the time
the cash
before?
price-
I want to know. This is the question that I'm asking. When a person puts a deposit down, do they know what their payments are going to be? Do they know what the financing is?
100%.
So then, where is that document? That's what you don't have, and that's what he either has and won't show me, or doesn't have.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah. Who are you?
General manager, I was
Okay.
there as well. Basically, when we do the purchase order, they like the vehicle, then we try to get them financed. Once we get that, we show them the payment, interest rate, term of the loan, and that's on a whole separate contract. That doesn't get done until it's actually completely, they're leaving that day when they're leaving with the vehicle. This allows them to put the deposit, hold the vehicle, because his situation
So
was
this does come before the financing.
correct. This comes first.
So you
Then-
have
then
them
we
put a
agree terms.
deposit, but they don't know if they can afford the car yet because the financing
They
comes
don't-
late.
No. We do the purchase order to get to that final financed amount.
I understand that.
Then, as we're still at the same table, now we fax it to the bank, do it online, then we get the approval, then they give us the deposit because, hey, we got you approved, this is what it is. The issue of the matter was him affording the insurance. It's just he needed time to get insurance because his record and his age for that type of vehicle.
How old was he? How old were you when you were trying to buy a Jaguar?
22.
22, and you were trying to buy a 4-year-old Jaguar. What were you doing for a living that made you so happy and thinking that you could fly so high?
Well, we were both going half on it.
Are you married?
No.
That's another stupid thing. Like, but you guys have been together a really long time because the case is almost 6 years old.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been together?
9 years.
9 years?
Yeah.
You got children?
Yeah.
How many children?
One.
What are you waiting for?
Ask him.
What's wrong with you? Put a ring on it. What is your problem? You have a life with her, 9 years with her, a child with her, and you can't pull a trigger? What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Do you love her?
Yes.
Do it. Does she want you to do it? It sounds like she wants you to.
I don't know.
Oh, it sounds like she does when she said, ask him. What's wrong with you? This is none of your business, Judge Milian. All right. God, 9 years. One thing if you're like, oh, he's a Rolling Stone, he kept it, but you've been 9 years with her, you make a house with her, you make a baby with her, what are you waiting for? What? I'm upset. Just hold on.
Okay, so this person's dream car at 22 years of age, a Jaguar. You guys are around that age? What's your dream car?
It's a 67 Camaro SS.
Oh, so that's very specific. Actually, I know that car. It's a great car. Let me tell you something. Don't get that car. It will cause you nothing but
I
grief.
already have it. It's sitting in my garage.
And why is it sitting in your garage?
It's not running.
Exactly. Dream car.
Infinity?
Huh?
Infinity?
What do you hear? Your new one.
Yeah, the newest.
Okay, fair enough. And who else has a really cool dream car?
The Audi S6.
Okay, I want something like I like the Camaro.
Mayweather's Bugatti.
Okay, you're just dreaming. Going inside the
Did you ever
courtroom.
try to work with him to have him buy a different car that he was within his means once he had the insurance problem? They had the insurance problem. Yeah, by the way, I'm giving him all this grief. What's wrong with you? How old's your child?
7. Well,
All right, so you had a little baby and you wanted to buy a Jaguar because like nobody plans ahead for. What made you decide not to buy the Jaguar then?
when we,
Somebody sobered up?
yeah, when we finally realized it was just gonna be too much. Yeah.
Wow, and that's $3,500 later. So did you guys try to find them a car that they could afford?
We did feel sorry for him, so I said, okay, I'll tell you what, we'll give you $3,500 credit towards a different vehicle.
And then you would look for a vehicle, find it on the internet at his place, advertised for $9,000, and then when you got there, he'd tell you it was $14,000.
Yeah, he was telling me it was a misprint or that wasn't the right price. It just became a back and forth.
How many times
thing.
did that happen?
A couple times. It was a couple times. I was taking
A couple of times with the misprint?
It happened
That
twice
seems
with
kind of like used car salesman-ish.
Well, that's not true, Your Honor. Actually, he wanted to buy a car that was more affordable, but she kind of had a champagne taste on his beer budget. And she wanted me BMWs
She's
and
nodding.
Mercedes.
She's nodding. Go ahead, and
He was,
He was looking at affordable cars, and she was looking at BMWs, Lexus, Mercedes. Then they wanted to wheel and deal on that price.
wow, and I was giving him all the grief, huh? Go ahead.
So they would want to wheel and deal on those prices because we wheeled and dealed on the Jaguar, but the Jaguar is easier to wheel and deal on because it's a softer car than a Mercedes or a BMW or a Lexus.
Softer as in it's less easy to sell.
Yes, correct.
Right. So you couldn't come to terms, and you told him you're just going to lose your deposit if you do this. And then-
Basically, every time he came in for a car, we couldn't come to terms, and then he just...
Okay, but why did you wait so long? Like, obviously you wrote it up to a loss and moved on. What made you decide to sue now?
We spoke about it many times. Didn't have the money to go through it. Didn't know how the process worked. I heard so many different things.
I know, but no, finding out how the process works is a phone call or a visit to the courthouse. How much money did it cost you to file this case?
I think it was
95.
$95. If you can't afford $95 to get back $3,500 you think is rightfully yours, then really you shouldn't be looking at Jaguars and BMWs. Right?
Yeah.
So
That was
it's
a
kind of
young
not
mistake.
making sense. So what really made you go to court now? You're watching more People's Court? Tell me, like I'm just trying to figure it out.
It was just something that we always talked about.
It was in the back of your head gnawing at you? Because
It was
I'm I applaud
I mean, to be honest
attempts
with
at
you,
closure, but
I mean, my license was suspended for a while. So,
and when did you get your license back?
just recently.
Oh, maybe that's why.
So that kind of factor in too. It was like, well, I can't get a car. I don't have a license. This happened.
All right, well, look, and how'd you lose your license?
Unpaid tickets.
Unpaid tickets. How much in unpaid tickets?
It was like 2 or 3, but it just unpaid
Yeah,
led
it
to
has a
other-
nasty habit of doing that. That you turn like a $140 problem
It
into a
turned into a big
$4,000 problem. Yeah, you got to pay attention to your problems, and you got to live within your means, and you got a child who is now depending on you to act like a grown-up. All right, you got a problem, and the problem is that deposits like this are usually non-refundable. And the best part about your case, the part that could make you win, is when you say, oh, but we didn't really have a deal, Judge. There was no contract because I still didn't know the financing. And once I realized the financing, I bailed. Car dealerships can't do business that way. They've got to have you at a table where they figure everything out and show you what it's going to be. If there was anything that made you not afford it, it sounds a lot more plausible that it's the insurance issue.
Can I?
Yeah.
I mean, when we put the deposit down, he waited. If you see the time difference on the contract, he waited like 10 days after. So we had no idea what was going
What
to
time
cost.
difference on the contract?
The dates.
What's the date on the contract?
I think it's 5/20.
That's correct.
And
what,
on the receipts, we put receipts down for 5/6 and 5/10. But we didn't know anything until 10 days later. And then that's when we told him.
Hold on one second.
So we weren't all
hold
together.
On, stop. His receipts show that you took the deposit of $2,900 and $600 and $5/6 and $5/10. But your retail purchase order, which you say happens at a table at the exact same time, is dated 5/20.
Can I see that, Your Honor?
Yeah. You're taking deposits on 2 different days, handing receipts on 2 different days. And my question to you is, did he know what the financing was going to be?
Absolutely. This is what the car is going to cost. Here's the amount you're going to need. We see, all right, the bank says you need $3,500 down. I don't have $3,500. What do I have? I have $2,900. Okay, we'll take $2,900 down. We'll do the purchase order. The vehicle's yours. We cannot sell it now.
So if you got to the financing on 5/6, there would be a purchase order on 5/6.
No,
You're saying he fills out a purchase order each and every time, that big piece of paper each and every time?
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Because he put down more money on 5/10.
So it changes.
Right.
You're on the
But okay, all right.
And that's how that
you're a
600
big boy who decides he can afford a Jaguar. You're big boy and girl who decide that with a brand new baby, you can afford a Jaguar. And you're telling me, Judge, protect me from myself. But if you sign a piece of paper that says no refunds, why shouldn't it be no refunds? Why should you have a better remedy than what you agreed to do? And the answer is you shouldn't. My verdict in this case is for the defendants.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, coming out of the courtroom right here is the plaintiff. Step on in here. You know, when you sign it, you realize you signed it said no deposits. Why'd you sign it then? If it was on
that's
there?
the way
you
it
didn't
works,
realize
right?
it? Yeah, you're disappointed, right? So you're out. All right, understandably disappointed. What can you say? So they lose their deposit to you, and so what are you thinking here? You see, they're just distraught over there.
Basically, I think they need some financial budgeting. You know?
Some type of financial help and plan. We tried to help them out when they came back, but she wanted the.
Well, did you realize that they were getting in over their heads?
They tell us when they say I can afford that payment. This is this and that. You know, it's a vehicle
You don't
that they
check
want to purchase.
financial backgrounds or anything? You just take someone's
Not our
word for
job.
it?
They want to drive that Jaguar. That's fancy cars. Can't afford it.
Ari?
Okay, when you put a deposit down on anything, especially a car, you got to know the terms of the deposit, when you can get your money back, when you can't, before you sign, before you give the money. It's that simple. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.